Hey there, this is James Wilson with MTV Strength Training Systems and BikeJames.com, and today I want to share a cool exercise called the Rotational Deadlift. Now, I love this exercise because it's a really great way to learn the lateral hip movement that you need for cornering your bike. And real quick, if you don't know, cornering your bike doesn't come from turning your handlebars, it comes from leaning your bike over. So if this is your center of gravity and this is your bike center of gravity when you're going straight, everything's cool, everything's balanced. As you start to lean your bike over to corner, if you don't shift your hips out to counterbalance that lean, then you're not going to be able to stay balanced. So this inability to shift the hips and maintain balance while you're doing that is one of the main things that's holding mountain bikers back, most riders back, from being able to corner more effectively and do it more consistently. So I'll show you how this works, and I'll show you a couple different variations, how you can use a sandbag, a kettlebell, a dumbbell, all that good stuff. But I'm going to show you with a sandbag at first. The reason I like the sandbag is because it lets you keep your hands about shoulder width apart, which makes it easier to keep a good chest position and keep good posture. And there's a couple cool variations of this exercise that you can do that I'll show you with the sandbag that I really can't do with just a kettlebell or dumbbell. So the basic exercise though, you're going to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get light on the foot opposite of the weight. So I've got the sandbag over here on my right. I've shifted most of my weight over to my right leg. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my hips back and shift them over to the side. And you'll notice as I do that, because I'm light on this foot, you'll see how this foot turns in with me. That foot turning in will let the hips move a little freer. So we want to do that at first, all right? So you're on your foot, most weight on this side, light on this toe. I'm going to push the hips over to the side. I'm keeping good posture. You'll see I'm not diving with my shoulders. It's the #1 mistake people make, is they start to lean over with the shoulders and then try to catch the hips up to it. You have to really focus on driving this movement from the hips. Everything comes from the hips, and if you start to feel the hips stop moving but you keep moving your shoulders, then that means you're starting to twist and turn, which is not what we want. So really making sure we're driving this movement from the hips. So once you've got your weight, you got your sandbag, you're going to push through your heel, come back up. At the top, you're squeezing your butt cheeks nice and tall and thin at the top, and then you just reverse and push those hips back into the side and then back to the top. So it's all got to come from the hips. You don't want to dive the shoulders into it. You want to shift the hips, and the hips drive the whole movement. So show you from the side here. You can see how the hips shift back and laterally. And again, one of the things I'm looking for, watch how my shoulders, so right now I'm balanced between my feet. So as I shift my hips, what I'm looking for is that my shoulders are staying in that position right there. I'm not leaning over, I'm shifting those hips back, letting me stay balanced. So again, making sure you're doing that is really important. So show you can do this variation of this with a kettlebell. Again, just hold the kettlebell, bring it to the side, light touch on the ground, back up if you need to, because the kettlebells, going to get you down a little deeper. If you need to put a little block or something under you to raise it up, you can do that. And then finally, with a dumbbell, you would hold the dumbbell like this, and it's the exact same move. So again, remember, it's not getting to the floor. It's the important thing. It's the maintaining of a good strong core, driving from the hips, not just diving over with the shoulders. So again, if you need to raise the floor, then do that. Now, once you get that down, I'll show you with the sandbag a couple other cool variations that you can do. Something that requires a little bit more hip mobility is to keep both feet flat. So again, it's the same movement. Everything else is the same. It's just instead of staying light on this foot and letting that foot rotate in, I'm forcing more hip mobility by keeping that foot on the ground. So that's a good one to start working on. And then you can start adding a power component to this. So you'll want to stick with this version here, where you're light on the toe and you're letting that foot track in. But when you come up, just drive with more force, clean it up, bring it down, down. So again, just a good way to add a power component to that movement pattern, which is something that we need on the bike, but there's not a lot of really good ways to train that off of the bike, and that's where this exercise here, the rotational deadlift, comes in. So hopefully you've enjoyed this exercise tip, something you should definitely think about incorporating in your routine. Really help with the cornering and just kind of building good lateral core stability and hip movement and just things that'll help you off the bike as well. So once again, it's been James Wilson with MTB Strength Training Systems. You can check me out on the web at Bike James. If you got any questions or comments about this, please be sure to leave them there, and I'll get to them as soon as I can, and I'll talk to you in the next tip.